Hello and welcome to another episode of Supercar Walkarounds. Once again, I'm at Joe Macari and once again I'm filming with a black Italian supercar. But this time, it's not for Ferrari Enzo, it's for Lamborghini Countach. So, let's slip this on my head and let's have a look around. So, here it is for Lamborghini Countach, quite arguably one of the most iconic poster cars that the world has ever seen. It was made between 1974 and 1990, and over 2,000 were made. And of course, it was powered by a V12 engine. Now, this particular car is the 5000 QV. Now, the QV is short for, I'm going to have to try and pronounce this now, Quattrovalvole. I don't know whether that's pronounced correctly, but what that basically means is that there's 4 valves per cylinder. So the original Countach, when it hit the scene in 1974, it would have had, well, it was planned to have a 5-litre V12, but instead it had the same 4-litre engine, V12 of course, that was found in the Miura. Over time this increased to 4.8 litres, and then you have the QV. So like I mentioned, well, not too sure if I have mentioned, but this is 5.2 litres. So 449 brake horsepower with 500 Newton meters of torque. This particular engine has been reworked, the whole engine has been rebuilt, and that was a job that cost over £25,000. So yes, not cheap indeed. But you can't argue that the design is absolutely timeless. Just look how massive this rear spoiler is. It is huge. It's like an ironing board. In fact, it's probably bigger than my ironing board. Now, the car itself is designed by the same person who made the Miura, designed by Bertone, by a chap called Marcello Gandini. And I'm sure you'll agree he has done a very good job with both cars. But yes, the Countach, it's classic. It's got the wedge shape and it just looks so out there. But the design may be a little bit, well, I was going to say a little bit bold, but it's very bold. But the car is actually quite clever. So the body is made using aircraft grade aluminium and it's built on a tubular space frame. Now, because of this, it was very strong and very light. So the original car was 1,065 kilograms, but this one is a fair bit heavier. But because of the design, it means that the door sills, if you can see them, are rather wide. So yes, as you can see, the door sills are most definitely rather bulky. Now, because of this, scissor doors were used, and in fact this is the first production car to feature scissor doors. And the reason for this is that if you had a conventional door, it wouldn't have been really practical to get in and out in tight spaces. But even with these doors, it's still not very practical to get in and out, as I will demonstrate in a few moments. But let's pop those down. Super cool. I don't think these doors would ever grow old. So fantastic. Really cool. Pop that down like so. So yes, so as I mentioned a few moments ago, the original Countach was 1,065 kilograms, but because this has got the larger engine, this tips for scales at 1,490 kilograms. So it is a fair bit heavier, almost 500 kilograms heavier. Now, as I'm back at the engine, let me talk you through the performance. So you're looking at a 0 to 60 time of under 5 seconds, and the top speed is 185 miles per hour. It's mated to a 5-speed manual gearbox, and of course, power is fed to the rear. Let me jump in the car. Well, I say jump in. It's not easy, as I shall now demonstrate. Right, door goes up like so. I've got to be careful. This car is priced at just under £350,000, so it's rather valuable. So, okay, how am I going to do this? So, right, leg first. Okay. Oh my word, it's cramped in here. Right, so cramped that I can't actually properly sit upright. Let me tilt the GoPro down so you can see more of the interior. Hopefully you can see that. Oh my word. Let me close the door. Oh, there we go. Oh, just knocked the GoPro on the sun visor. Right, I'm sat in a Lamborghini Countach. How cool is this? The inside is actually very basic. You've got a few dials, a few buttons. Hopefully you can see those guys. 5-speed manual gearbox, of course. Open gate, Yes, I love that. That looks really cool. And you got plenty of leather. But yeah, it's not exactly spacious in here. Just look how wide it is. It's wider than my arm. You get a sense that you need a taxi to get you from the driver's seat to the curb. Craziness. Speaking of craziness, this rear window, what is that about? Just, it's almost like a letterbox. It's so thin. The engine cover is up at the moment, but even if it were down, the visibility would be next to none. So what a lot of owners used to do, in fact, you may have seen Jamie Clarkson do it on Top Gear, or maybe one of his videos, is that if the driver needed to reverse, instead of looking in there or looking in there, which, let's face it, is pointless, what they would do is they would open the door like so, and then they would look out the car like that to reverse, because that's a lot easier than trying to look through this minuscule window. So yes, that must have been quite a spectacle, seeing someone going down the road, reversing their Italian supercar like that. But that was the only real way you could do it. Let me just close that door down again, like so. And yeah, very basic inside. The pedals are quite high up, they're very close together, and they're offset to the right. So the clutch pedal is really where I'd expect to find the brake pedal, and the accelerator's all the way to my right and the brake pedal's there. This car must be really awkward to drive. And the pedals themselves are very, very heavy. God, that accelerator's so close to the brake. It almost reminds me of a Caterham, how close the pedals are together. Right, okay, I now have the unenviable task of trying to get out. Right, door goes up like so. I don't think you could ever get bored of that. Right, these jeans are a bit tight, so these aren't ideal for the task. I'm not the most flexible guy either. You do need to be a little bit of a contortionist to get out, so I'm going to put my bum on there, lift this leg like so. Ugh. And there we are. That is all of my dignity gone, but never mind, who cares. It's a 1980s Countach. So these were made for a long time, as mentioned earlier, produced between 1974 and 1990, over 2,000 made, and it was made for a long time. Now this particular model, this was originally built in America in 1987, and it came over to the UK in 1991. That's when the engine was rebuilt. Now, going back to the engine once more, European cars, they still had carburettors, but the 5000 QV, this actually had fuel injection for the US market. Now, at this point, I would normally fire the engine up, but there's still a bit of work that needs to be done to it. It needs to go through the Joe Macari workshop. So sadly, this car will not be started today, which is a pity, because I would love to hear that Italian V12 roar, but such is life. I like the gold details down here, really, really nice. And you've got the name 5000 Quattrovalvole. But here we go. A timeless classic, the Lamborghini Countach. Arguably one of the most iconic supercars ever to be built, and definitely one of the most iconic to come out of the 1980s. Oh, let's get my hair sorted. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, and please subscribe for more car obsession.